It's unbelievable. Obviously, my first time here, and something that I think, our fan base is used to. But after, with my arrival and what we went through with COVID, and I'm excited, and I know our fans are, and I know our department is.
Given where this season started, the team was 2-2. They went through all that turmoil early in the season. For them to be here now, what can you say about the job Andy Avalos has done?
I mean, the grit and just commitment. Winning's hard, and obviously there's been some challenges, but I'm so proud of Andy, our staff, our student athletes, the fans that stuck with us, our department. This isn't easy, and for us to go on the run we did, and to be able to end up not just in the championship but hosting, I think says a lot about who we are and our team.
Jeremiah, the future of college football took a big step yesterday when it comes to the college football playoff. What do you think about the news of it expanding to 12 teams in 2024, and how might that help the Mountain West or Boise State for that matter?
Well, one, I think you guys probably saw me put something out on social. Massive, I believe was my quote. And it is, it's been part of our vision in regards to everything we're doing, from facilities to name, image, and likeness to the collective to everything we're investing back into our department. And we knew this day was coming at some point. We thought it was going to come last year, with an announcement, and we had to wait another year, and that's fine. But I think it's huge for us and our brand and what we're here to accomplish and compete on a national level. I think, if I remember correctly, we would have been, in the college football playoff if that would have been the case 8 times. And I believe we're the number one, outside of the Power 5 in that category. And I think that says a lot of the foundation that we've inherited and where we want to take this place. When you look at the conference and how we compete on a national level, I think it sets up well in regards to the success we've had over the last few years and even previous to my time here. So,
how much more interesting could it make a championship week in the years to come if there's a greater chance that something like that might be at stake this week?
Oh, I think it would impact, attendance. I think it would impact, every game matters, right? And you hear me say that a lot, but I think it would set up for an unbelievable championship weekend.
What's as you as Boise State's AD going forward, a 12-team playoff really benefits, a school like Boise State, who is in the group of 5 and hasn't, could get an automatic qualifier. Do you look at that going forward, and is there possibly, some you being okay of maybe not getting Boise State into a Power 5 conference because there's an easier access to the playoffs?
It's a good question. At the end of the day, we're going to control what we can, and we are a member of this conference, and, I'm not as concerned about, what I have very little control in. My goal is to continuously put us in the best possible position to compete nationally, bottom line. And I believe we have the brand and we have the support, and I know we can do that, and we're going to control what we can.
I'm curious about the pros and cons of holding a conference championship game at the higher seed versus the neutral site. We see the Pac-12 games in Vegas this year. It's sold out. Would there be a benefit, in your opinion, to maybe moving the Mountain West game to a neutral site in the future?
I think it's worth looking at. I can't tell you that it would be a benefit or not. I'm one of many that have a seat at that table in terms of the conference, and I think with Commissioner Thompson leaving, there's going to be opportunity to talk about what's best moving forward. I think our goal as leaders in this conference is to always do our due diligence and make sure we're doing what's best. I think there are a lot of benefits, especially for us as being the host institution. I'm loving it. This gives us another game in Albertsons Stadium and another opportunity for our fans to support our student athletes. And that means a lot to me, and that's a big part of why we do what we do.
How is the revenue split for hosting the Mountain West? Do you get a lot of the profits? Are you getting the ticket profits and things like that?
There is a revenue split. I would get, and I can provide what the data is on that. But, there is a split, and it does benefit us as it does everyone else in the conference.
With Gloria taking over, kind of what's your, I don't know if you've had many conversations with her yet, but what do you really think of that? And we're going to talk to her tomorrow, and just what do you think in terms of what's on her plate, I guess, early on once she takes over?
I think she's probably going through what I did very early on. Transition is tough, and so I have a lot of empathy for her, but she's the right person for the job, and I'm really excited to get to know her and get to see her tomorrow, just like you guys are.
What do you think it's worth having a championship game on Big Fox, having the blue and the blue field and the home being shown on Fox on a day when there's not many football games played?
Yeah, I mean, one, I love it because it ties into our brand, and I think there's a tremendous amount of value. We want to get in front of as many people as possible, and to be able to host on the blue and in this amazing community, it's something that I value, and probably goes back to the previous question. I like the host sites, but I think it's always worth looking at how we operate moving forward, and being on Big Fox is powerful.
Jeremiah, with the transfer portal or whatever kind of opens up here soon, when it comes to NIL, where do you guys? I know you guys have obviously done pretty well so far, but where do you guys still feel like that needs to go, and how's that going to affect the future of college football too?
Yeah, that's a tough question. In terms of the future, I'll start there. I think your guess is as good as mine. It's something that has made it very challenging from an athletic director's standpoint in terms of how we navigate these uncharted waters, and not just name, image, and likeness, and transfer portal, and conference realignment, and there's a lot that's being thrown at us, but I see opportunity in all that. And as it pertains specifically to us, we're always going to do more. We're always going to find a way forward. I've promised Bronco Nation and our supporters that they will get 100% of me and our team. And I'm really grateful for people like Walsh and others that are spending a lot of time, energy, and effort on best positioning us for the future of college athletics.
I know that you guys have Boise State now as a collective. When it comes to NIL and stuff, it says that it's not supposed to induce players to either stay or go somewhere.
Right.
You kind of look around, and there are literally some collectives out there that say, fund this to keep people here, or whatever it might be. Without any enforcement, is there anything you hope to see when it comes to whether it be collectives or NIL that offers a little bit of structure moving forward?
Yeah, I think like most things starting off, the market's going to correct itself, and we'll find a better path. This is new, and we've talked about it for a number of years, and so it wasn't necessarily a surprise, but trying to find that sweet spot of what's ultimately best for our institutions, our student athletes, and our industry in of itself, I think is challenging. We're somewhat creating it as we go, and that's where I'm grateful for people like Nathan Burke on our team, and his support, and how he's helping us navigate and try to push the envelope as much as we possibly can within the rules, because the rules are important to me. I always want to do what's right, and I know what we represent here, and we're going to continue to do that. But I can't control what others are doing. We hear the rumors and we see what else is being done, and in some cases it's probably not being done appropriately, but we're going to control what we can.
Do you think there would or should be any type of enforcement from the NCAA on some of that stuff? If the rules are the rules, right?
Right. I think it's challenging. They've tried to place some guardrails, and because it's being defined in real time, and there's legal ramifications and other things, I think it's easier said than done. So I have a lot of empathy. I deal with it on a daily basis. What can I do? What can't I do? And sometimes it's a very gray area, and it's what level of risk some institutions want to live in, and we're trying to define our own expectations, which you've heard me say, and we're going to continue to do that. And I feel very confident and comfortable with what we're doing based on the support that I have and the people leading into me.
You guys have talked a lot about wanting to bolster your fundraising and things like that, but with all the projects you've got going, how do you balance asking people to give towards a better Boise State University, and having people give to the NIL collective, which could bolster the football team and the players you could attract?
I think, and this is maybe counter to what most leaders would say, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority, right? Everything is a priority, and everything is a priority for me. And everything's on fire right now, and I need a lot of water, right? And I've told you this, and I've been pretty consistent with this. Whatever we don't have, we're going to go out and find, and within the rules. And so these facilities are just as important as name, image, and likeness, as the collective that's being controlled outside of us, as our annual fund. we are going to monetize everything to the best of our ability to continue to operate and compete on a national level.
What is the status of the North End Zone project, and what's the timetable, I guess, to what happens next?
Timetable is difficult. My goal in general is to push for shovel and ground, right? But there are a lot of rules and things that we navigate appropriately because of being a state institution, and so I'm constantly running out those ground balls. And right now we got approval on the design build, and that was a huge first step for us, and it's teeing up some of the future asks that we have in play. And the next step is figuring out the financing aspect of that. And so 23 is a big year for us, and I expect it to be epic.
What are your pillars of a good fundraiser? Like, what makes a good fundraiser?
How do we fundraise?
What makes a good fundraiser?
First and foremost, it's the relationship. The relationships are important to me. I can't tell you how many friends I have that I've met through this industry who were donors at the institutions I was at that I still talk to today. That's a priority, and ultimately my goal is to get people to support a vision and a direction that I as the leader want to take this department. And we've had a lot of success, but it's not just me. I probably get way too much credit. I have an unbelievable team, and they are doing the exact same thing. And our BA team, Mike Kellers of the world, and Molly Linty, and Cody Ogler, and Jake, and Brian. I don't want to miss anyone. It takes a team. Everything I say publicly, we are living out in action. I just happen to get a lot of credit, and I'm really proud of those guys, and they continue. It used to be me defining it and really pushing, and now they're coming to me saying, Jeremiah, I need you to do this, and we have these 3 other things, and that makes me really proud as a leader.
NIL laws aren't really on the radar of many legislators in Idaho. Is that something you'd like to see change?
It's a good question, Ron. I think in general, no. I think it actually has set us up maybe for more success than some of the states that have implemented laws. And so right now, I feel really confident in our relationships, and in the conversations that we consistently have, knowing that this industry continues to change. We are trying to stay ahead of things. So as we're concerned about a game or one facility, I'm already on to 10 other things that is part of my job and daily duties.
In terms of the bowls, I mean, obviously it's pretty clear cut if you win, and I know it's probably all you're wanting to think about, but have you had any conversations in terms of what your bowl picture looks like outside of the LA Bowl?
I've had conversations, but at the end of the day, I'm worried about 1-0 and who we play tomorrow. We're going to control everything we possibly can, but we're just grateful and excited to and for us, very consistently, 25 plus years, I think now, to be bowl eligible and have that opportunity for our seniors and our student athletes, and for us to tell our story, and wherever we end up, I'm going to be grateful for.
How much do you think a guy like Taylor Green could impact Boise State, both in the wins and loss column, but also growing the brand, and what have you seen out of him over these last few weeks?
I can't say enough about him as a person. You all probably see him more, just like our fans, as a player. But I see him, as this. He was thrust into the spotlight, overnight, and has really responded. And you've seen the improvement from one game to the next, and I'm extremely proud of him. And obviously being quarterback at an institution like this, and with our history, that there's sometimes pressure, but he shows up. I believe he does it for the right reasons, and I'm a huge fan. And I think anyone on our team, we have 350 plus student athletes. They represent something much bigger than their individual names. They represent their teams, and they represent a logo that represents this amazing state.
Not only having the opportunity to host the Mountain West Championship, but what does it mean to the brand of the team to get to host it against a rival and kind of add another chapter to the history between these two teams?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Fresno State is someone that obviously when I got here, I knew about the rivalry, and I know last year's game was big, and the game earlier in the season, and you know, you want to play those meaningful games, right? I'm a fan, and you know, it means a lot to not just their AD, who I'm a huge fan of and think very highly of, but also this conference, you know, and Bob mentioned earlier, you know, Big Fox, and what an opportunity for us to tell our story overall as a conference, and to have the two best programs represent, you know, this weekend, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. I'm excited. I'm nervous, you know, just because I'm usually nervous before games, you know, and I have nothing to do with it, right? But I'm excited.
Obviously, this off season of the football program, you know, there's going to be some other schools calling, trying to maybe poach some coordinators. You've got to hire an offensive coordinator. You know, how willing are you to increase the assistant salary pool for Andy to keep some of the guys and get the guys he needs?
I believe since I've been here, it's been increased, I guess, 2 years now, and we'll continue. It goes back to your original question. Whatever we don't have, we're going to go out and find. And that's a big part of what our fundraising, you know, has been, in terms of not just supporting football, but all of our sport programs in our department overall. It's important, you know. If we want to compete, we have to go out and find more, and that's my commitment.
Are you talking about like the standard already built in $50,000 raise, or could you see it going up significantly higher than that?
Yeah, I could see, you know, in general, whatever we need. You know, we know what the data states, and we can pull the comps of you know, everyone we're competing with and others in our conference, and we're going to continue to do that. My goal overall is to improve, and I think we've done that in a short amount of time. You know, it's improving our operating budget, it's improving our fundraising, and hitting a record last year at $24 million. Well, our goal this year is 25. You know, we're going to continue to push, we're going to continue to grind, and you know, at the end of the day, you know, I can't guarantee success, but I will guarantee you the effort, and it's something I'm committed to. It's important to me because people are our greatest asset, and I'm nothing without the people around me.